Good morning, everyone. Today is Thursday, February 12th, and today is another video, another update to the Orange series, episode 4, the Bitcoin halving. What is it? How does it work? How do the numbers work? This, that, and the other thing. A lot of you may already know how it works, but I half-ass knew, but I had to try to calculate and figure out how it exactly works. And I did, and I'm proud of myself. So I'm happy to share that with you today. But before we get to that, let's refresh coin market cap and see what's going on here. Looks like we are moving on up. Again, we did hit some low numbers yesterday, 65-ish range. What else is new, right? Today's at 68, but again, whatever, right? That's all we can say, whatever. Good morning to everyone that is here this morning on YouTube and X. Brother Double D, LA, Wolf, Alan. Who else we got? We got Sergio. Sergio's awake. That's good. And then we got Kevin. Let's go. All right. So, as you know, the orange is basically, Bitcoin, whatever. I should do a video actually on that too, where the whole orange thing came from. But the reason we call it orange again is because you get the orange pill, your Bitcoin, or whatever they say. But like I said, maybe a video for that. But yeah, this is a weekly series where I'm going to go through some stuff about Bitcoin, some stuff that I find interesting, some stuff that I'm learning along the way, because it wasn't really till last year that I finally got into Bitcoin, and I said, you know what, yeah, this is a good long-term buy and hold investment. So obviously, since I'm putting money into it, I want to learn more about it. All right, so what has this series been about? Again, this is episode 4, we said. Let's do a 150 zoom. The first one was an introduction. The second one was the history of Bitcoin. The third one, we did transactions in top of the crop. And today we're going to do Bitcoin halving. I'm already putting down what I plan on doing next week, which is kind of related to this week. I couldn't squeeze it all in. Next week should be Bitcoin mining. And then the following week, I want to dive into the Bitcoin ETFs on how exactly they work. But again, that's if I get to it, because some of this does involve a little more work than I thought. But yeah, we'll see. Just going in some order, I added some dates and stuff here. So most of you know I already talked about this, but on December, it was November, right? No, it was December. Yeah, December 7th, 2017. That was my first purchase of Bitcoin. It was priced at $17,034. Again, what the hell was I doing? Nobody knows. I was just buying it to buy it because I was a degenerate. And just, buy whatever it is. And nobody knew, I didn't know what the hell it was at that point. And eventually just got out of it and did shit coins, and then took a break all the way up until really March of 25. And as they say, this is the price I deserve. So the cost basis at that point was $84,922. And you could see on March 14th, although I wouldn't call this committed, but I threw in the whole 99 cents on it. But after that, though, it was just daily, just buying all the time and building up my my new Bitcoin stash. So again, this is the price I deserve, because this is when I actually started to believe it's a long-term hold. I bought this time because I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I just wanted to gamble and get rich. All right, let's move on. If you guys have any questions on Bitcoin, or if you want to let me know if you actually own Bitcoin, type that in the comments. And also, where do you buy it? Like, where do you prefer to buy your Bitcoin? All right. So the history tab, again, that was a separate episode. I'm not going to go through that again. Transactions was an episode. But now we're going to get to the halving. Again, I'm very excited about this part. So before we even dive into the numbers, I did pull up Investopedia, of course, why not, right? And they have a nice little picture, the Bitcoin halving. It's an event when the reward for mining Bitcoin transactions are cut in half. Okay, so what does that mean, right? What exactly does that mean? Are all the Bitcoin, are half of them going away? No, right? So let's dive into it. All right. This, again, we're just going to read a little from the website, and then once you see the numbers, it'll make a lot of sense. So it says Bitcoin halving refers to an event that takes place every 4 years and reduces the block reward by 50%. This lowers the supply of Bitcoins entering the market. That's key. That's what it does. It lowers the supply of Bitcoin entering the market. Because again, there's Bitcoin miners. They do their thing, right? They make some Bitcoin, but they can only do it at a certain, based on a certain level, right? And once that, the blocks, whatever, they call it the reward. Once that reward lowers, every 4 years, the amount of Bitcoin that they're mining is less and less and less, right? Essentially, this is like I guess a battle of inflation, a way to limit the supply, right? And it says here, yeah, this lowers the supply of the Bitcoin entering the market, which increases scarcity and can act to raise its price if market conditions remain the same. But as you know, right now, market conditions are not nice. But whatever, man. Whatever. That's we're not here to worry about what the price is doing. We're here to talk about how the halving works. All right, so that's just a little detail from Investopedia.com, which again, they always have everything. But I did some details, so check this out. Okay. So on January 1st, 29, again, I don't know the exact launch date, but we'll just say 2009, Bitcoin started a reward. It was 50 BTC, 210,000 blocks per 4 years. Again, that remains the same. That's the consistent. So if you take 50 reward times 210,000 blocks, the year from 2009, until whatever the 4 years out, they were mining 10.5 million in Bitcoin. Okay, putting the total obviously at 10.5 million. So at the time, obviously, if you bought Bitcoin, it was really cheap then. Clearly, in the pennies, it would have been a great time to buy. But again, right off the bat, there was a lot of Bitcoin available, on launch. But then 4 years later, let's pull that up. Okay, so now we got November 28th, 2012. It's approximately this is not exact, so don't worry about this date. We'll just say 4 years. It was 4 years later. Now, what you do is you cut this in half. You cut the reward in half. So 50% times 50, now we're looking at 25. All right, so the reward is 25 now. Again, the blocks are going to always be 210,000. So basically, you take 50% of 25, which is the reward, and you're adding now another 5.2 million Bitcoin in circulating supply, putting the running total at 15.7. So again, at the time, if you were to go to CoinMarketCap and look at the circulating supply in 2012, again, who the hell even knows if they were around? Yeah, I think they were around then, right? But if they weren't, whatever, someone was tracking it, and that was the number of the supply. All right. Let's move on to another 4 years, and I'll look at the comments in a second. I think I saw a question, but now, okay, another 4 years went by. We're on July 9th, 2016. The year's about 3 years, 60, whatever, almost 4 years, right? They're going to cut the reward in half yet again. So we're now at 12. We're at 12 and a half now. So again, the reward, cut in half by 50%. We're still using 210,000 blocks, and now they mined 2.6 million. Again, these are probably approximate numbers, by the way, not particular exact. The exact number is, eventually it's 21 mil, right? That's the number that they're going to mine, when all said and done. But you could see, all right, wow, we started with 10.5 and then we jumped up 5, but now we're only jumping up 3. So as the rewards get cut in half, they're not going to mine as many every 4 years. It's going to be less and less and less and less and less. All right, I'm going to keep going. I'm going to finish going through this, and then we're going to do the questions, actually, because I do want to put this as a separate clip. All right, so let's go to another 4 years. Now we're getting close to current date. We're at May 11th, 2020. The reward is yet again cut in half. We're about 4 years again out. The reward, again, cut in half, 50%, is now at 6.25. All right. So again, if 210,000 blocks are getting mined at a rate of 6.25 Bitcoin, now you're only adding about 1.3 million into the supply, making the running total 19.6 million. Okay. All right. Moving along. Again, we're going to go a little faster now. Here is, yes, we are here. So, well, we're in between these two. I'll do 5 and 6 together. So we got, okay, we just had the last one on April of 24, right? So the reward is now, I guess, currently at 3.125. Again, that's 50% of the last reward. And we put another 656,000 in current supply, making it 20.3 mil. And again, the next one is scheduled for, again, how did I do this? Did I just throw a date on? Or did they give me the dates? I don't even remember. No, yeah, I just added 4 years. All right. So yeah, April 1st, 28th, for example, if that's the date, whatever, it's going to be cut in half again. 1.5625 is the reward, 210,000 blocks. They're going to add 328,000. So you can see every single year, less and less gets added to the running total, AKA the circulating supply, right? So now we're obviously somewhere in between here, right? I was going to say it's 25. It's not. It's 2026. So we're in the middle here. Although the circulating supply does show still in the 19s, but whatever. Again, like I said, it's probably not going to be exact, at or around. So it makes, we're close to the number, but this is where we stand, right? So now we're going to go through, and every 4 years, it's the same thing's going to happen. So, and we're just going to go down the line. So let me, so obviously, in 2032, we're going to do this until 21 million Bitcoin are mined. We'll add another 164,000, right? And then 36 and 82,000. I mean, this is going to go quite some time. A lot longer than I thought, to be honest. This is going to continue, again, look, 2040. I mean, look at this. Going into the freaking next century here. So basically, it's going to go all the way down to approximately March of 2140, right? I should probably add here. Let me add format. What the hell is it? Date. Custom date. Yeah, let me do that. Boom. There you go. 2140. In 2140, the last rewards of, the reward will be 0.0, a whole bunch of zeros and a 6, still having, 210,000 blocks. A whole 0.0012 will be mined that year. So the idea is the value of Bitcoin, would be like so high at that point that, it's not going to be at all cheap to buy that, that number, right? Could you imagine right now it's doable to buy this amount? again, but we don't know what the price is going to be, nor will be around to find out. But but regardless, that will put us at, well, again, if I brought this out to decimals, you could see, I guess, further. Okay, so you'll be at the year 2040, you'll be at 20,99999. Just say 21 mil, all right? 21 mil. But hopefully, again, there's 34 Bitcoin halvings based on what I'm calculating, and it's going to end in the year 2040. So yeah, it's going to be a long time. Again, before I looked at this, I never knew when it was going to end, right? I didn't really look into it. I just thought, all right, it's coming. We're at 19 million. It's coming up, right? We're gonna eventually have all of them in circulating supply, but no, we're not, because they cut it in 50%. So I think this is actually pretty amazing stuff here. And I was so happy when I came out with the numbers, because I had to do, a little bit of research, because I didn't understand this. I don't know if you guys did, but it makes sense to me now. Finally, the Bitcoin halving makes sense. But so yeah, that's the summary on the Bitcoin halving, and how it works. So now I'll get to the question. I'll get to the comments. Sorry, but I had to finish my thoughts with that. Let's see. Okay, Double D, you only own 150, huh? You're not a believer, or you're waiting? Maybe you're waiting, right? Own a little bit of BTC, a PayPal. Yeah, it's cool that PayPal has it. Kevin, I have a similar story. I bought and sold and bought. Yeah, I hear you, man. Yep. What do we got? Oh, here's the question. All right, question. Won't miners stop mining if it costs more than it rewards? Yeah, that I'll have to get in tomorrow, because I didn't look into the mining. Here's Cooper. Tide Venture. The halving means the amount of Bitcoin can be mined daily is cut in half. Currently at 450. In 2 years, that drops. Yeah, Cooper could probably explain. I think he knows about the mining stuff. Let's see. All right, here's the current cost to mine one Bitcoin is 92,000. The price of Bitcoin, 67. So miners have stopped mining. Well, I don't know if that's true, because, well, I'll get to the daily change tab in a second, but the circulating supply did go up since last week, just FYI. But again, take it for what it's worth. That's from the numbers are from CoinMarketCap. Maybe you mean probably most miners, although it looked like it was the same increase. So we'll take a look in a sec. Yeah, 2140. We gonna be gone. Didn't realize how much I missed Rod my coffee in the morning until you. Appreciate that, Bruce. You the man. All right, so let's go. All right, so that's the mining. That's the halving. Hopefully it makes sense now, because it makes sense to me. Finally. All right, now I got to zoom out, because I'm going to talk about the treasury companies. So what I do here is I pull the top 20 treasury companies, and I just see, okay, compared to last week, what happened? Did they add anything? Is there a new company in the top 20? Well, I can tell you that Strategy added 1,142 Bitcoin. So now they have approximately 3.58% of the circulating supply. Again, approximately. At 714,644 Bitcoin. Mara's number 2, 21 Capital number 3. Again, this order did not change, and they actually, no one's really added Bitcoin except Strategy. Some of these do, but no one from this past week. I mean, this was the week to add too. You got to figure, but I guess they're broke asses. They can't add it. But I did see that Kango Inc. is now dropped off the top 20. I'm not quite sure where they at. Actually, we could check. We could check where Kango went. We do have the website. Again, the source is bitcointreasuries.net. And we could search for our boy Kango. Where you at? Okay, so Kango moved down to 26, 36.45. So if I go over here, how many did they have? They had 79.82. Now they have 36.40. So they sold their Bitcoin. They sold, it looks like almost half, or almost half of their Bitcoin. So that's interesting. So now we have a new number 20, a new one in the top 20. It's ProCap Financial. So out of the top 20, it's about, they own about 5.21% of total Bitcoin. All right. Again, this is just FYI information to share with you guys in case you are curious. Because I don't know. To me, I enjoy this information. I think it's a little interesting. You can share your comments down below. All right. So now what I do, this was an addition based on last episode, the tub of the crop. But it's something I'm going to update all the time, every week. I know I'm giving myself more work, but I think it'll be worth it. So what we're going to do here is we're going to take a look. And I guess, I could probably just freeze the category, right? Freeze this column. I'll do it later, whatever. All right, so ETFs owned, 7.05%. They actually, the amount of Bitcoin that they had went down week to week. So I guess this tells me when people sell their Bitcoin ETF, obviously the ETF ownership of the Bitcoin, they sell their Bitcoin. Okay, I guess that makes sense. So they're showing that 8,203 have left the ETFs. 8,203 Bitcoin week over week left the ETFs. At least that's what I'm seeing. I don't know. Countries, no change there. Public companies, they added 1,142. I assume most of that was, all of it was strategy. And then nothing else changed. Okay, so now we're going to move on to the countries, which, again, we pretty much just said there was no change to the countries. So USA, China, UK, Ukraine, nobody added the Bitcoin. What are they doing? Add the Bitcoin. The value went down, right? Their Bitcoin value went down, but the number of BTC did not increase. What about the ETFs? Again, the ETFs did go down in value and Bitcoin did leave. So how much? Well, iShares, IBIT, right? That's the biggie, 3,885. The Fidelity one, FBTC, I think it is 4,464. Those are the bigger ones. Grayscale's a big one too, 2,500 left them. But a new CoinShares XBT provider increase of 1,998. How you doing? Again, they're probably, maybe, I don't know, they're becoming more popular, so maybe people are buying into that one. And then there's a bunch of others which we don't need to dive too deep into. Moving along, again, this tab shows you the preferred stocks. The STRCs of the world, the SATAs of the world. And I talk about these because I like them. They have a respectable dividend yield, which seems, can they keep it up? Well, again, that's the plan. But we'll talk about them in a second in my investments. All right, now for the daily change, I'm going to go back to a 200% zoom. So this is what I was talking about before to Cooper, if he's still here. So Bitcoin supply, we could look, I have the last 4 weeks. So you could see the circulating supply has grown approximately almost 5% every week. So I'm not seeing a slowdown. But again, my source is CoinMarketCap for circulating supply. So I don't know, how accurate that is. Maybe I need another source. I don't know. But yeah, I'm showing the supply went up, right? I don't know. The supply added increased to 19.9, even though we should be at 20. So I guess we are kind of behind in general, but all right, I don't know. But that's what we're showing. Anyway, let's look at MSTR, again, they added 1,142. Their MNAV went up in price 7%. Where did I have the MNAV detail? Did I put that here? All right. And again, when we say MNAV, the one, you know, the lower the number, the better the deal. That's the idea. So anything less than 1, it's showing extremely bullish buying opportunity. Anything 1 to 1.5, attractive entry. Anything like typically above like 2.5, whatever, it's, you know, whatever. So, but if you see like 1.5, less than 1, then that's telling you it's a good buy. And again, that's probably a separate video too, that I have to dig deep into the MNAVs up in her. All right. So anyway, their MNAV went up. MSTR price, you know, after that awful last week was brutal, man. We took a beating. We still went down though. We went down 2.34%. STRC went up. See, that's the beauty of STRC. Their goal is to maintain a NAV of $100, right? And they obviously did that. As of yesterday close, they're at $100, and they went up 2.05% from last week. So anytime you see, or at least for me, that's what I'm thinking, STRC's below $100, to me, that's a discount. That's a deal. All right, let's move on. Let's go to ASST. Again, some may say, or some may just stay away from this one. But I heard, I only added this and got involved once I heard some interviews from the Strive guys. You know, they basically, they're doing, they have a similar strategy to Michael Saylor, and they're just a smaller, you know, they're just smaller. I need a sip of coffee. Hold on. But so they're doing it on a much smaller scale. So that's why, but the reason I'm buying into ASST is because I wanted to get into SATA. Now check this out. Look at SATA. So SATA is at $87. It's $87. The NAV is supposed to be 100. But so they're paying you a yield based on the $87. What's the yield actually? That's a good question, right? What is the yield? I think it's on here somewhere. Is this? Oh no, this is not. It's under credit, I think. SATA 12.25. Do I have that under preferred stocks? No, I have 12. So it's 12.25. What is whatchamacallit? STRC 11.25. I think they've always been that, unless they've raised it. I'm not sure, but whatever, it doesn't matter. All right, so again, they're paying. We'll get to the yield on cost in a second, but they're paying 100. They're paying that yield based on $100. So if you buy this thing at 87, your yield on cost obviously is going to be a little more. But I wanted to point out, and I talked about the MNAV before, because ASST's MNAV is below 1. I don't really see that often. So, you know, all things point to, you know, sale. But, you know, not financial advice, of course. It's down 18% from last week. So this thing is scary. This thing is a freaking penny. Well, it was a penny stock. Where's the price? Yeah, they had a reverse split. Yeah, I don't know, but they're coming back in the single digits already. So here it is. No, down 31%. Sorry. The MNAV went down 18, but the price of ASST went down 31. SATA went down 2.59. But yeah, the point I was getting at SATA is, again, the current price is 87, yield being 12.25. The NAV is 100. And with the yield at 12.25, the annual dividend, again, it's based on the 100, is 12.25. But if you take that and you divide it by the price, you're going to get your yield on cost at 13.96%. So if you buy SATA at 87.75, you're starting out with a 13.96% yield on cost. And by the way, since this thing is supposed to hit 100, you're also supposedly, I'll say supposedly in quotes, going to have an automatic capital appreciation of almost 14%. So think about it. Your yield on cost is about 14, and then you have capital appreciation of 14. I mean, it sounds way too good to be true, right? If it sounds too good to be true, stay away, right? That's what they say. Or if you're a degenerate like me, you jump right in, you say, yeah. But I mean, I'm just giving you the numbers. This is what I'm calculating, but looks pretty damn amazing. And actually, I'm talking myself now into buying more SATA today, but we'll see. Speaking of my holdings, let's get into that. Again, this is all part of the episode. So just a quick FYI. I buy my Bitcoin on Robinhood. I know a lot of Bitcoiners will say, "Hey, you gotta hard wallet. You gotta put it in a hard wallet, or else you don't own your Bitcoin." Okay, yeah, whatever. That's another topic for another day. But I wanted to test it out, and I did send my Bitcoin from Robinhood to Coinbase, and it worked. So at least I know, all right, I could send my Bitcoin somewhere, and it didn't go through right away. I will say that. This is the first time I've ever sent Bitcoin. I've sent Ethereum. I've sent BNB, Binance token, and a bunch of other tokens, shit coins, whatever. This is the first time I sent Bitcoin. It took about 2 minutes or so, 2-3 minutes, but it went through. Cheap. The fee was cheap, but it pretty smooth. That's all I can say. Much smoother than what it was years ago when I was trading shit coins. But anyway, so this is the current Bitcoin that I own. I own about 0.11. Obviously, last week I hit that 0.1 goal. So I mean, that was not easy. That took forever. It seemed like forever. But now we're at 0.11, so that's good. But again, it's easy now because Bitcoin's so damn cheap. I mean, it's going down, which is great, right? Because you can buy it cheaper, but at the same time, it's getting old, right? It kind of gets old, and it's like, but you have to, keep the same mentality. If you believe in it, then you're happy. You're happy if it stays at 60,000, even for the next year or two, right? Eventually, yeah, you want it to go up so you can make some damn money on it. But man, oh man, I don't know. It's good and it's bad, right? All right. So this is just the value of the Bitcoin based on the current price, at least as of last night. MSTR, I now own 11.65 shares. Whenever I hit 100, I'm definitely selling covered calls on that. I'm not gonna lie. I know people are they wouldn't want to lose their shares. I don't care. I'm gonna make money on my money. That's the goal, and I'll get into that too in a second. SDRC, I now own. Sorry, I'm losing my voice. Blah, blah, blah. Hold on. La 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 la. All right. Anyway, SDRC 20.75 shares. ASST. The share count went down. They had a reverse split. I don't know the ratio for the reverse split. I honestly don't even care. But the value. Oh, I didn't update this. So daily change. J42. This is on 4.2. Okay. 4.2. Wait, 4.2. 4.39 R42. Oh, duh. Yeah, I forgot to lock these numbers in. Yeah, what was the does anyone know what the ASST reverse split was? 1 for 20, right? 1 for 20. All right, so you got to take this number and pretty much divide by 20. All right, so yeah, that makes a little more sense. Sorry, I'm getting there. All right. So yeah, the value. Is that right? Only I gotta check my Robinhood real quick. Yeah, ASST 4.39. Yeah, that's right. Oh my God. All right, I gotta add some ASST up in her. $35. But it's oh, by the way, update my daily buys, they now work. So I could do the daily buys on ASST. It wasn't working, which is why I don't own that much. Sega, remember Sega? I own 7.28. I did add some money to this because, again, I saw it as a deal. All right, let me go through some comments. DD left. Have a great day. I have seen Seda at 98, but has been at 101. Well, it's not at. It's not now. Right now, it's at 87. Right. You can check stock analysis. 87.75. I mean, hello, Moto. Which again is crazy. Question, we'll talk through how much inflow is required for the 13% upward move. Yeah, I mean, that's a good question. Obviously, it depends on, the people that buy versus the outstanding shares. But the thought is, at least for STRC, right? When the price goes down, they raise the dividend, get more interest, more people buy in. When the price goes up, they lower the dividend and balance it out back to the 100. But again, it's pretty low. STRC really hasn't gone this low. So I'm curious to see like what they're going to do because their dividends are already pretty high. So I'm sure they were not expecting Bitcoin to tank this much. So it's going to get interesting. But yeah, they're going to have to raise. They need more inflow. How much? I don't know. Let's see. Just like Howard discussed about NAV yesterday, if it halves, that means it's to double the balance. Oh yeah, FYI, plug for yesterday on Discord, we did our first live interview. Well, I didn't. Ambassador of Quan did all the work. But yeah, he's kind enough to offer his services, expertise, and hosting skills to do interviews now on the Discord, which if he does record them, I will post them on YouTube. I did post Howard's interview last night. And then today, of course, we have an interview with David from Quantify Funds. So check that out. All right. So let's keep going here. Payouts. Again, I don't own much, so obviously my payouts are comical at this point. But I've made in February, or I will make $15.27. What will that buy me? Again, 3 coffees. But the goal is to build this up to eventually be, afford to buy my Bitcoin on the daily basis. But now I want to talk about something. I want to talk about loans. All right. I want to talk about, the question is like, if you guys own Bitcoin, where do you hold the Bitcoin? Right. And the place that you're holding it, can you borrow against it? Right now in Robinhood, I cannot, like I have margin activated, but I can only borrow margin on MSTR, and STRC and SATA. I can't even borrow on ASST, but it's only because it has 100% margin maintenance. But for crypto, you can't borrow on any actual crypto. You can't do margin on crypto. So I'm building up. I'm doing these daily buys, right? And you can see, it's not much money, but it's $7,500. I can't borrow against this, right? I can't borrow against it currently on Robinhood, and I don't believe there's anything in scope to allow it. But I did some research and I did see that Coinbase, which I still have a Coinbase account even after all these years. It wasn't much, but I did throw some money in there. I have about what, $365, whatever. But I wanted to see, like, okay, they offer loans. So they offer loans on Coinbase. They will give you a loan to value ratio of 86%. So since I own about $365 in the Bitcoin, right? I can borrow $314 at a rate. Again, it's a variable interest rate, so it can change, which is scary, but it is, of course, is what it is. I can borrow at 4%, essentially. We'll just say 4 to 5%. So, and again, what am I immediately thinking? I'm thinking about, okay, well, I can make 10%, 11%, or even 12% on SATA and STRC, right? With that money. So, again, you're buying Bitcoin. It's just sitting there. It's just sitting there. It's not making you money, especially when the price isn't going up. So at least you want to be able to borrow on it, right? But again, the risk of borrowing it and it goes down, your loan to value ratio can go down, and then you'll be called on the loan, or you'll have to cover the difference on that. So what I'm doing is I'm thinking, all right, maybe I'll come up with a number. Again, I don't know. Just this is out of thin air, right? I got to zoom in. No, I did zoom in. All right, 25%. So we'll say we'll borrow 25%. So that would be $91 at a rate of 4%. So I'd have to pay an annual interest rate of $3.81. Oh, by the way, Coinbase, they got to get their money. There's a fee of 1%. I don't know if it goes to them or the loan provider or both, but they got to get their money. So that's, right off the bat, that's 1% off the table, which actually should probably, I don't know, I'll fix the formula later, but it's just, it's out of your pocket. It's actually, because I'm calculating monthly, so I don't want to take it off the monthly, but whatever. So my monthly interest will cost me 32 cents. An STR dividend based on, well, I have 11%. Let's do 11.25. Would pay me 86 cents per month, because they do pay monthly. So that's a monthly profit of 54 cents. Again, for just sitting there. One important note. So if you look here, this is, I thought this was interesting. If you access a third-party service, this is from Coinbase, from the loan part, that enables you to obtain loans or other forms of credit, you understand and agree that you are not permitted to use the proceeds of such loans or credit to purchase digital assets on or through Coinbase.com. So what does that mean? It means you can't borrow money from the Coinbase and use the money in Coinbase. That's how I'm reading it, which is honestly, I don't know what to think about that, but that's what it says. So I'm wondering how they even get you the money. So I'm thinking about borrowing like $50, just to test it out and see how it works, and then go from there. And then I'll have to make a decision of where I'm going to hold my Bitcoin. What I'm thinking is, if I go back to my Robinhood holdings, I may just keep like Robinhood at 0.1, and every 0.01 I earn, I'll move that over to Coinbase. I'll send it over to Coinbase. And then Coinbase, my loan, it'll increase what I could borrow. And then I'll borrow the money, and then I'll buy STRC. And then they'll pay me a dividend. I don't know. What are your thoughts on that? Is this like a complete degenerate play? Or even if it is, do you like it? Do you hate it? Let's see what we got here. Borrow against is what sets the hook and keeps you in. Yeah, I just watched a video this morning about borrowing, and it really reminded me, like what am I doing? Like, you have a mortgage, right? Think about your home, whether you own it or not. If you have equity in it, it just sits there, right? Sure, it's going to appreciate over the long period of time, but it's an asset that doesn't really make you any money. Yeah, you're living in it, but should you always borrow against the equity in your mortgage? I mean, that's it. Again, that's in our little world here. That's like a risky play. All right. Well, I'm going to start adding SATA and STRC as part of my income portfolios, preferred portion until they reach 1%. Yeah, STRC is a decent percent of my current portfolio. Functions just like a mortgage. They make yep. That means they don't think it is sustainable model permitted to happen through them. Yeah, I definitely. But again, I guess once it leaves Coinbase, which I'm guessing they send you the money through an external, like they're not going to give you the money in Coinbase. They're going to probably send it somewhere. They don't care, that's at your own that's at your own risk. But I think they're covering their ass and saying, all right, you ain't going to lose all that money from us, right? But I don't know. I just thought that was interesting, because I'm wondering if people think they can move that money back in, and then obviously they would get in trouble. But I have to look at all the loan specifics. But that I just wanted to make sure everyone knew. All right. So what else? I think that's it. Again, I didn't get far in going through the Strive team, and I'm already getting ahead of myself on the future videos. But next week, if I have the time, again, a lot of this does take time. I want to dive into the Bitcoin halving, how that works, how the miners make money, how much they make. Like Cooper just said, how much they make. It costs them to mine one Bitcoin. So right now it doesn't seem worth it. So what makes it worth it? How do we determine how much they're making per Bitcoin? What hardware do they use? What's their electric bill? How does that even work? Right. But yeah. And then Bitcoin ETFs, again, I want to dive deep into that and how they just, look at them, compare them, what they're all about. Obviously you can see market sell-offs, they sell their Bitcoin. Okay. Makes sense. So, all right. That's pretty much it of the Orange series. That's all I got. But I don't know. Any questions, let me know in the comments down below. All right. So as always, this is not financial advice. I am not a financial advisor, and this video was for fun and entertainment. So hopefully you had fun. Hopefully you're entertained. If not, come back next week, and we'll do some more digging. But hopefully this was helpful to any of the Bitcoiners out there, the Orange people. All right. Anyway, if you enjoy this content, you want to help the YouTube channel out, you can hit the like button, you can comment, or you can share. You can always share the video. Tell your friends. All right. Outside of that, it's keyword time. So if you made it this far in the video and you would like to prove it, the keyword today is 2140. All right. What does that mean? That is when the last, Bitcoin will be mined in 2140. I mean, that's a long time, long time. But yeah, I don't know if you guys knew that, but that was kind of news to me until I Googled it, and then I ran the numbers. I'm like, okay, makes sense. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. Well, we were not going to see then, but we'll see during our lifetime how we go. But again, every 4 years there's a halving. We'll see how the next one turns out. The next one is around approximately, again, that's why it's in italics, approximately April of 2028. So we got some time. We got like 2 years plus until the next Bitcoin halving. So again, if you made it this far in the video and you would like to prove it, you got to type in 2140. I'm out of here. I just wanted to say to everyone on X, everyone on YouTube, the live people, the people watching after the fact, after this gets posted, thank you for watching and have a good day. Later.